are you?
That was my grand entrance. Hi, everybody.
Can somebody I need it turned up a little bit here. Hold on just 1 second. We're getting some mechanical things fixed. You look beautiful today.
Yeah, sorry about the messy office.
It's 8:30 where she is. You're in where?
Portland, Oregon.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay, we have with us right now Alicia Pollack, or Katz Pollack, speaking to us from Portland, Oregon. And as the note said that I sent out to everybody, she's going to be speaking on how to solve Wi-Fi connectivity problems. You might want to give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Sure. I have been using Apple computers for over 30 years, and I'm a member of the Apple Consultants Network. So I'm one of the people listed on Apple's website that when you need home support and you do a search for your zip code, I'm one of the people who comes up. I'm Microsoft Office certified and have been for 20 years. I'm also a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and so I help businesses set up their QuickBooks, but my specialty with that is training. That what I bring to the table for all of these things is that I am a trainer. I have a master's in teaching, and instead of going to the public schools, because I'm a computer geek but I can talk to people, I found a niche doing computer support. And we do support all around the country and all around the world. In addition to, like, if you're in Portland, we'll come to your house and you make a list of every question that you have about using your computer, and we'll answer all of those questions. But we can also do that, obviously, because here I am talking to you in Florida, I can do that from anywhere in the world. This is my husband, Jamie, who's also my business partner. He's also a member of the Apple Consultants Network. And,
Hi, Jamie!
Hi, Jamie!
I am our iPad specialist, iPad, iPhone.
Well, I'm glad you're with us today.
I lost audio. I can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, yes.
There we go.
Anyway, we were all screaming hello to Jamie. And see, what I do is I put it on mute when you speak so we don't get any interference.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And so, I thank you for bringing me in today. One of the way that George discovered me was that I write articles for tidbits.com. And also on our website, royalwise.com, we have a steady stream of support articles that mostly come from the appointments that we have with people. When we are in the field and somebody's having trouble with something, if we find it particularly interesting, we'll write a little article about it. And that's how this article about Wi-Fi connectivity came to be. And Adam saw it listed, Tidbit saw it listed on my website and asked if I would do a version of it for them. And now here I am today.
Okay.
So, should I just go ahead and get started? Okay. So, what some computers have a goal. That is that your Wi-Fi drops off. And when things are working seamlessly, you can turn your computer off, you can turn it on, and it just connects directly to your Wi-Fi. And because whether it's an iPad or whether it's a laptop, it remembers your Wi-Fi networks. It's nice because ideally you go to a location and boom, there it is. And you don't have to do anything. It just turns on and works. But sometimes it doesn't. And the reasons for that can be from a hardware standpoint or a software standpoint. There is a known issue with some laptops, so you hear about it on the forums, and one of my solves is particular for those computers. But basically what I have for you is just a big laundry list of all the different things that you can look at when your computer is having trouble connecting to the internet in general. So at any point, just come on back, and if you get questions from the audience, I'm happy to field them as I'm going. So the very first thing when you are having trouble with your computer, hang on a second. There we go. Is restart it. Whenever you're having trouble with your computer, the very first thing is restart it. And I know that sounds obvious to people, but it's not, because I've been on help calls where I've said, okay, we'll have you restart your computer, and they say sure, and then we start diagnosing, and 2 hours later they go, oh, well, you know, I didn't actually restart it because I thought it was going to take too long. And so the first step, whenever your computer is not acting quite right, it's not acting the way it did yesterday or an hour ago, just restart. That will solve a large percentage of your issues. So after you have restarted your computer, you're still having trouble with your Wi-Fi, the next thing to do is restart your router and cable modem. Now you might have a cable modem from Comcast or whatever. Who's your provider down there?
Comcast.
Comcast. Who else?
Primarily Comcast.
Okay, so Comcast. Okay, so with Comcast, I'll just use Comcast as the example, but it's true for whoever else you have. There are two kinds of modems that you get from them. Some of them have wireless built in, and some of them don't. And Apple makes its Airport Express or Airport Extreme. And when you are working with the Apple as the router, you don't need the router the cable modem from Comcast that has Wi-Fi. And I've seen people have a Wi-Fi router and then plug an Apple Airport into it, in which case you actually have two Wi-Fi connections going out. And so if you do have an Airport Extreme, you can actually save yourself a little bit of money and take the Wi-Fi router from Comcast back and get one that doesn't have it, and then just plug that one directly into the one that has the Wi-Fi. So that's something to take a look at in your own settings or in your own setup. When you do have, yeah.
Alicia,
No sound.
is anyone
I
better?
don't have sound. There you go.
Is that?
There you go. Nope.
No.
Yes. No. Yes. No.
Okay, is anyone better than the other? Is Comcast router better or worse, or is there any difference in
You like
which
Comcast
one
versus
works
Apple?
better? Yes.
Well, depending on just the basic technology of it, if you have whether you have B or G or N, if you have, the N, they're going to be, at least as far as the technology, they're going to be the same. One of the benefits of Apple technology is, especially if you go with a time capsule, which is the combination of the Wi-Fi router and the backup hard drive. And you pay a little bit more upfront for them. They run in the $300 to $500 range, but they're wonderful because they have the hard drive built right into the router. And so you can back up your computers, your laptops, your iPhones, your iPads, all the devices in the house wirelessly right to your device. And so that way you don't have to have, each computer has its own backup system, or worse, no backup at all. And Time Capsule is wonderful. Time Machine, the backup program, is wonderful because it backs up every single hour. And so if you are working on a document and you blow something, you can just go back an hour and get how it was an hour ago. Or if you accidentally delete a file and you don't realize it for 2 weeks, you can just go back to that date and pick the file and restore it really easily. And so I love Time Machine. So the opportunity to have Time Machine built into my router using the time capsule is well worth the investment. And then you can save yourself a few bucks a month by taking back the wireless modem from cable and just getting a regular one to plug into the time capsule. Does that make sense? So as far as technology, no, not one is not really better than the other. I would assume that Comcast is using a cheaper technology and Apple's are going to be a little bit better, but I've never actually seen anybody compare the two modems. So just from field experience, yeah, that's what I would say about it. So when you are having Wi-Fi trouble in your house, the thing to do would be to disconnect everything. Pull the power plugs from the, turn your computer off. Pull the power plugs from your Wi-Fi router. Pull it out of your cable modem and literally unplug it from the wall. And then leave it off for, text will tell me just 10 seconds, but I've had people say, it should be at least 30 seconds or a minute. The whole idea is to get all of the electricity dissipated across all of the devices. And this is true with printers as well. If you're having printer trouble, I've actually found, and it surprised me, but just unplugging the printer didn't work, but unplugging the printer from the wall and unplugging the printer or plugging the cord from the printer did work. That there's something about the electricity having to dissipate across all the capacitors. So I always go extreme. I unplug everything. Then after about 30 seconds to a minute go by, you'll start with the plugging the cable modem back into the wall and wait until all its lights turn green. Then, and that can take a few minutes because it has to go and get a new IP address from Comcast and gain its connectivity and start all over again. Then once all its lights are green, plug in your time capsule and then wait and then connect the wire between the two and then wait for that to turn green. And then once that's green, turn on your computer and see if your Wi-Fi is back up. So that's kind of the order of operations for reconnecting your cable modem itself. Okay, any questions about that?
George. So,
We have a question, George.
we have a question.
Okay.
Jerry?
Yes, my Comcast modem has battery backup in it. So in addition to pulling it out of the wall, I have to take the batteries out to achieve the state that you recommended. So
Okay, yeah. There, you may also find a reset button in it, and it could be a button you can push with your thumb, and it might be something you have to put in a tiny little dot. But if you hold that button down for 30 seconds, that should reset your battery charge as well. But if you do have to take out your batteries, then yeah, thank you for adding that step in there.
Thank you.
Okay, what else?
Any other questions? Yeah, I have the same issue with the battery in the Comcast.
I can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So with Comcast, another issue, now this is more about internet connectivity than Wi-Fi connectivity. So instead of talking about your computer connecting right now, I'm talking about just if your Wi-Fi is down. One thing that I like about Comcast is that you can actually call them up 1-800-COMCAST, and in their phone tree, they give you the option for resetting your modem right from there, and so you can just press whatever number it is on your telephone, and they will reboot the signal from them to you and give you a fresh signal again. And so now that's, again, if you're having trouble with wireless, not your computer connecting to the wireless, but if you're having trouble with your signal, give Comcast a call and ask them to reboot the modem, and that can help. Okay, so my next thing that I try is simply turning off your wireless altogether. Go up to the little fan in the upper right-hand corner of your Mac and turn off the wireless. and wait a minute, and then turn it on again and see if it should just reconnect. And that might solve the problem if you're having intermittent connectivity. So you can always give that a try. Another thing that I will do is actually go into the system preferences. And this is a little trickier for me to explain without actually demonstrating it. But there's I might actually, hang on a second, I might need to bring this up so
You want,
okay. Are you there?
you want to share the screen?
Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen. Okay.
Yay!
I have to turn off one of my utilities. Forgive me a moment. Okay. Can you see okay?
Can you zoom in?
All right. Okay.
Can you
If you're having any trouble with me, by the way, I can't hear you right now, so make sure you can down again.
Can you zoom
Right.
in? Can you zoom in?
Can I zoom in? I will try. I don't, on this screen, I don't think I can. But let me go in and show you what I'm talking about. So right here, you go into your network settings, and a couple different things that you can do. You can see right here when your Wi-Fi is connected. And if you're finding that you have other things, now these are all red right now because I'm not using them, but if you find that these are red but they're up above your Wi-Fi connectivity, they could potentially be interfering with the connectivity. And so you can come down here to this gear and tell it to set the service order. And then I can pick up my Wi-Fi and put it up to the very top. And then it will take precedence over all of these other technologies. So that's one thing that I do. And then if you had several greens, Wi-Fi would rise up to the top. Another thing that I will do is ask it to forget the network and start over again. And so let me get into where that is. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I want to come down here to the advanced button. And now I can't obviously do this because I'll lose you completely. But here is your your wireless connection is right here. The active one will be up at the top. And actually, if you go through the list, you're going to see every single wireless you have ever been anywhere, anytime. And so, you can see restaurants on here. You can see some of my customers' houses on here. And okay, like here's Fly Sacramento. I'm not really concerned about the Sacramento airport anymore. So I can go ahead and hit this minus and remove that Wi-Fi network from the list. So that's an example of how that works. So what you might want to try is going to the Wi-Fi network that you're on and hitting the minus sign. Then you will lose your Wi-Fi. And then you just simply come back up to the fan and pick it off of here again and re-enter the password. And that will create a new network again. And then you can pick it up and drag it, that these are all draggable for the order of them. So if you put them in the order of necessity, then that can also help your computer find your networks. So do you have any questions about that? Okay, chime in if you do, since I can't hear you or see you at the moment. Okay, so that's the preferred networks and setting the service order. Another thing that you might want to try is preparing your permissions, and I'm going to cancel out of that window and cancel out of my network because I don't want to actually affect anything right now.
You might lose
And so right now, I'm not going to apply my changes, but you would hit that button. So one thing that some people have suggested works. I've never actually had any luck with it working myself, but running disk utility. And here's one of my tricks, by the way, is Spotlight. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually open up programs on your computer by using Spotlight. And so if I want to get into disk utility, I could open up the Finder, go to my applications folder, go to the utilities subfolder, and then find disk utility, but I find it much easier to come up to the magnifying glass and just type, and boom, there's disk utility, and I can open it up. Now, I'm not actually going to run my disk utility right now, but just to show you, and this, I would click on the hard drive, and then come straight down here to repair disk permissions, and run that, and that can take up to 10 minutes or so. And then go to verify disk and repair disk. And even if you're not having Wi-Fi connectivity, these steps are actually really good for the health of your computer. They will repair any problems that different programs are having interacting together, and it can speed things up, it can heal all wounds, and so this is something that I do periodically, even if I'm not having any trouble with my computer. So some people have suggested repairing your disk permissions. I don't have any actual evidence that it helps with Wi-Fi issues, but I didn't want to leave it off of my list today. So I'm going to go back up to utility as quiz. Okay. Want to take a moment? Any questions coming in?
Anybody have any questions about disk utility or some of the things she just recommended? Okay, go ahead. Alicia?
Okay, and so, yes, are we good? Can you hear me? Okay, so the next thing that I have found, and this is the one that really did solve the problem for my client, and George, you had somebody email us earlier this morning that this would be the thing to recommend to them as well. So this is one of my little magic tricks. And so I'm going to go back to my networking again. And across the top here, it says location automatic. Now, if you travel, and I assume you live in Florida, some of you probably go visit grandkids, have some other folks in part of the country.
Alicia,
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
having trouble. We're having trouble hearing you all of a sudden.
Do you hear me?
We're having trouble with sound all of a sudden.
Okay, how are we now?
Let's try.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So how much of that explanation did you hear? Do I do the whole intro again, or pick up where I left off?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this locations technique, I'm going to go back into screen share again, is one of the things that is wonderful not just for solving this connectivity issue, but for having your computer in more than one location. Okay, good. Let me know if you can't hear me. So what I'm looking at right now, again, I'm in system preferences in my network settings, and there's a bar across here that says location automatic, and that basically will look at any locations that you do have set up and find the best one for where you are. But here's what locations allows you to do. I'm going to go into edit locations. You can make multiple locations, and what a location will allow you to do is have different settings in different places. And when you switch from location to location, do I lose do I still have you? I hope I still have you.
Yes.
What this will do is allow you to allow you to have different Wi-Fi settings. Notice that when I do that, I don't have all. Wait, that part does. I can change what kinds of connections I have. I can change my network settings. I can have multiple different printer setups that are all specific to the location, different time zones. And so when I get to a new place, I can switch my computer and say, okay, now I'm home. Now I'm at my son's house. Now I'm back on the road again with all of my settings. And that allows you to have multiple locations. And so when you are having trouble with one of the big Wi-Fi issues that you read about in the forums where Wi-Fi just drops and picks up and drops and picks up, what I actually have had success with is making a new location and then resetting up the Wi-Fi in that new location, and it actually solved her issue. And so that was a solution that I have not seen in too many places. I found it the one time that I needed it, and it worked. Actually, no, that was actually a suggestion from one of my techs. I've never seen it on any of the web forums except in my own articles. But this one is the one that made the difference, making a new location and then resetting up all your network settings in that new location. And then with any luck, that will stop it from dropping the Wi-Fi. So that's my locations trick. And I'd like to go back to screen again. Let's see if it will end the screen sharing. There we go. So what questions or comments do you have about locations?
Any?
We got one.
Okay.
Do you have to?
Wait a minute. Okay, we have a question. Go ahead.
Do you have to give it printer information?
Say that again?
Does it have to be given printer information? Because when you go to system preferences, you can do home or like Naples, but there is no place for the printer information if you have different printers at different locations.
I've actually found that you can have as many printers as you want in the printer's name in your system preferences. And you can just, once you set up a printer in one place, you can just leave it up there. And so I have printers at my mom's house that I only use once every couple of years, but I don't even bother deleting them because when I'm there, I don't even have to think about it and I can just press print and it goes. So, and I'm not sure if the printer list is different in each of those locations that I was showing you. I have to actually experiment with it to see if it is. But, you know, just like the Wi-Fi, once you set up a printer, leave it up. There's no reason to add and delete them as you go.
Thank you.
Did I understand your question?
Yes. Thank you.
We have another question.
Well, my problem is that I don't know how to set up the new locations because Verizon set up my DSL in Massachusetts and Comcast set it up in Florida, and then I had so many problems. Everything got deleted at the Apple Genius Bar, and they just said use automatic.
Okay. If that's the one, that situation would be one of the classic opportunities to use the locations. But once you get once the geeks get in, there's no telling what they're going to do to your system. And so if you're finding that you go from place to place and it's not causing an issue, that the Comcast just comes up on Comcast and the DSL comes up on DSL, then stick to the automatic. If you leave it on automatic and you did have separate locations, one that's the Comcast and one's that the DSL, if you just leave it on automatic, it will actually look and see which technologies it has and which one is the best fit for your location and pick that one. So hypothetically, when you're in one location, it will pick that location, and when you're in the other location, it will recognize that location. If it doesn't, you can switch from leaving it on automatic may be the way to go.
Well, the only issue I have now in both of them.
Wait a minute, she's not hearing me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got here late because I had the wrong time. The only issue I'm having now in both locations is when I go like more than 20 or 30 feet away from where the router is, I seem to be dropping it. It goes like from good to nothing. But that could have to do with other issues.
That sounds like something that, well, I mean, it depends on where you are and the construction. I mean, if you're just like 30 feet across a room, you may actually have an issue with your card in your computer, because you shouldn't have that kind of degradation. You should be able to go to different parts of the house.
Right.
That being said, depending on the construction where you are, if the house has a lot of metal or a lot of thick concrete, or depending on the construction materials, if you're in the next room, I've seen Wi-Fi just get completely lost because it can't pass through the construction that you have. So if you're finding that consistently, that you have to be right next to any modem in order to get your Wi-Fi connectivity, that is an issue with the card inside your computer. If it's more about the house that you're in, that you can't get Wi-Fi from this particular room, one thing that you can do is get a little Airport Express, one of those little $99 white little boxes, and this might be a good thing to keep in your travel kit, that you can, wherever you go, plug it into the wall, open up your airport utility, and use it to extend the Wi-Fi wherever you are. And so you can reset that little device everywhere you go and tell it to extend. And it will go pick up, if you're in this room, you can go pick up the Wi-Fi from this room and then broadcast it again from here, and use that to leapfrog across like a ranch house, for example. You don't want to have too many of them, because then you dissipate the signal across all of them. But for when you're in one part of your house and it's just not getting connectivity, that is absolutely the right thing to do. And so I actually keep a little Airport Express in my travel kit. And so I use that, I can just take it with me wherever I go and extend to any network when I need to. So that could help.
Okay, we have another question.
How does the Airport Express work? Does it pick up the Wi-Fi signal, and that's the way it's presented, or does it pick it up from the wall socket?
It picks it up from the Wi-Fi signal. Airport Expresses are neat because they're little multi-purpose devices where you could use just a little Airport Express right off of your Comcast modem by plugging in through an Ethernet cable. But it also has the ability to pick up the Wi-Fi from different places. And what's especially nice about it is it has a built-in USB port and a sound port as well. And so you can use it to print wirelessly. So if you have a printer in a different room than your Comcast cable modem, you can use an Airport Express to pick up your Wi-Fi and then attach the printer to it. You can also get little speakers with just a little headphone jack and use it for speakers. So as an example, with our Airport Express, we have an Airport Express with a little pair of speakers in our kitchen, and we have one in our bedroom, and we have one in, I think my husband put one in the garage, although I haven't tested it out yet. And so whenever I'm playing music, I can go up to either my AirPlay, or, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but the little sound speaker on your menu bar on your computer, if you hold down the Option key when you click on it, instead of doing the volume, it actually lists all of your speakers. And so I can Option click on my sound icon, and I can tell it to play in the kitchen, or in the garage, or in the bedroom. And I can shift my sound all across the house and play music anywhere by using that little Airport Expresses. So we have 3 of them connected to speakers across the house. So an Airport Express is a multi-purpose device. It can be the sole Wi-Fi. It can be a Wi-Fi extender. It can be a speaker jack. It can be a printer server. All that for $99. Now again, what it is doing is either taking the Ethernet port connected to the actual cable modem or boosting the Wi-Fi signal. There is a way of connecting your Wi-Fi, extending your Wi-Fi through your electrical system in your house through the plugs, and that's called a power line. And I'm glad that you actually met Jamie. That's one of the things that he does is power line installs. And so if you do have one of those houses that has construction that blocks your signals, he sends it plugs into one, and then you plug in a receiver on another power socket somewhere else, and so it's sending the signal through the wires, through your electrical system, through your walls, instead of by Wi-Fi. And he's a big fan of that technology.
Do we have any more questions at this point? Yes.
What is, sort of related, what's the lifespan of Airport Extreme and Airport Express? What can one expect?
I don't have a good answer for you because I haven't read anything about it for a while. We had to replace our Airport Extreme, I think it was probably 5 years. It shouldn't fail on you, but the technology changes. You know, we went from A to B to G to N technology, and so, you know, when the new bandwidth bumps up, that's a good time to take a look at getting a new one. I have read that time machines can fail. I've heard some time machines or time capsules, the hard drive can fail after a couple of years. But I think that's more of a manufacturing issue than just a rule for the device. But, you know, that can also be said of any hard drive, that if you are backing up to a hard drive, you still want to have multiple hard drive backups, because it's a mechanical device. Failure is inevitable at some point. So, yeah, but
I have had, over the years, problems with time capsules, and some of the time they've been maybe 2 or 3 years old, and Apple in every case has replaced it and given me a new one because I think there's known issues out there. Mm-hmm. So if you have a problem with a time capsule, take it into the Apple store, even though you think it might not have a warranty. If you've bought a computer within the last year or so, it's automatically going to be considered under warranty.
yeah. And, you know, one of the recommendations that I do have is a program called Backblaze, and you can read about it on my website in our little shopping cart. But Backblaze is a $5 a month off-site backup service, and so I run my time capsule, but I also have Backblaze, so I do have a complete backup of my computer off-site, and they're one of the industry standards that I do recommend so that you have redundant backups. But, you know, I have, you know, just like you said, anybody who has taken one to Apple has gotten a new time capsule because, you know, with backups, they kind of have to stand by that technology, and hard drives have not.
Have you, on that backup cloud that you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
How much space is included in that $5 a month?
I can't say off the top of my head. I can do some fast research.
What's the one that Dennis was talking about the other night? Carbon.
That's good for her website too.
I'll send you that information. As a matter of fact, it was attached to probably the announcement.
Unlimited data.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I mean, for $5 a month, it's unlimited?
$5 a month, unlimited data. So the first time you run a backup, it's going to take, maybe a couple days to do. And then it's incremental, just in the same way Time Machine works. It will, every few minutes, go and pop up and store your backups. If you do need to restore from it, if it's just a file, you can do that through the web. If you have to restore your entire computer, they have another service where they'll actually send you a hard drive with your information on it.
What's the name of that again?
Yeah, and so, I would, because I'm a satisfied customer of theirs, if you do want to look into Backblaze, I would appreciate it if you would go to our website, royalwise.com, and go to our shopping cart and search for Backblaze.
Okay.
That way
Why don't you, Alicia, if you can, send us a direct link into it,
yeah,
And how they
absolutely.
should-
I'll be happy to.
and how they should specify it so you get the credit. How does it compare with Carbonite?
I've had people complain about Carbonite. It's a similar service, but I've had people say that they've put things up on Carbonite that they couldn't actually get their information back off from. So Backblaze is one of the industry favorites right now. There's another service that I've worked with called Dolly Drive. That what Dolly Drive brings to the table is it's the same kind of service, but it's Time Machine style. So you can log into their website and literally look at a graphical interface and click on the file you want and restore it down. And then it also has a built-in file server, kind of like Dropbox, where you can upload to the server and share it with other people. So it's kind of a combined Time Machine Dropbox interface, and that's called Dolly Drive. I've had to contact their tech support several times to get it working, but for what it does, it's pretty unique. And so that's another service that I like. And I can send a link to that too.
Carl, we have another question, by the way.
Do you know if there's any interaction between either one of those websites and Super Duper? Can you still run Super Duper?
Yeah, you can still run Super Duper.
Okay. Next question.
Regarding Airport Express, in a hotel environment, physically, where are you located?
Well, you would just plug it into any outlet. If you're in a hotel that has Wi-Fi, though, you probably won't need it because most of the hotels have their Wi-Fi pretty much up and running. So you won't need to use it as an extender. If you're having trouble with internet connectivity in the hotel that your signal's not strong enough, you should tell the front desk.
Some hotels,
If you are in a hotel that still is kind of the old school, that has the cable modem right inside the room, you can plug just with an Ethernet cable directly into that to make your own network.
some hotels provide,
1 second. Go ahead.
some hotels provide free internet service in their lobby and charge for the rooms. And I'm wondering if this would get around that.
You might be able to. It's still going to be a question whether the Airport Express can pick up that signal from the lobby, but that is a really good use for it if you can make that happen. So that's what I would do, is plug it in, see if you can't pick up the signal and extend the network. Definitely worth a try, and also why I keep it in my travel kit.
Would you just plug it into your room?
You plug it into your room, and then you open up the airport utility, and again, you can do it right from Spotlight. Just type in airport and pull up the utility, and then you can play with the settings for the device and see if you can't get it to find the free wireless.
What you might want to do is sleep in the lobby.
Get a first floor room.
Or on the second floor. Any other questions?
I'm just answering questions at this point.
Okay, any more? Okay, yes, we do. One second. Get it back. We have one more question.
I'm interested in the use of the Airport Express as a sound source. So
Yeah.
could I patch an 8mm cable from that into a hi-fi system?
You have to have one of the plugs, and I don't do hardware so much, but the standard plug, like a headphone jack style plug, is what the airport has. And so if you can run one of those cables from your stereo system to an export, if it just has that connection, like an iPod connection, that's all you need in order to get it to feed out as a speaker out.
One second. We're going to ask another. Go ahead.
And then what do I do on the computer to get the sound to? Do I just use the home sharing like you do in iTunes?
Yeah, you can go to your AirPlay and it will see it on the wireless network. You can, so if you're on like an iPhone, use your AirPlay and you'll be able to see all your speakers off of the list. Let me actually, here, I'll show you what it looks like. So I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to go into my AirPlay. I don't know if you can see it with the glare or not.
You had it before.
I don't know if it's working or not, but you can kind of see that list that I have there. Those are all of the different speaker sets that we have across the house, and so when I'm playing my music, I can just pick it off of the list.
You went to that by going to AirPlay and you got the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything's connected over the Wi-Fi. And then if you're on your computer, hold down the Option key and click on the speaker where you adjust your volume up in the menu bar on the upper right-hand side. And that, instead of being a volume slider, turns into a list of speakers. And depending on what operating system you're running, you may only be able to send it to one set of speakers, but if you're running, I want to say Lion and onward, you can actually send it out to all of them all at the same time as well.
Carl?
Yes, if you're in a place that has public Wi-Fi, could you use your Airport Express to give you a secure connection? If you plugged it in and picked it up, and you had
Well, the fact that theirs may or may not be secure is going to be your bottleneck on that, because even if your connection is secure because you're using Apple technology, you still don't know what's going to happen once it goes back to them. So you're not any more secure doing it over an airport than you are over a public, because you are still using the public.
Back to the Wi-Fi. Back to the Wi-Fi, is the quality or the transmission power of a Wi-Fi, does it vary? From one is one unit and you can buy a more expensive one and there's a 3 unit. If you're in a building where you have to get through concrete walls and things like that.
Yeah, there's, and I'm more of a software person than a hardware person, but there are different, I want to say gigahertz.
Millivolts.
Like, when you have a wireless phone, you've got the 5 and the 2.58 or something like that. So there are different transmission powers to different cable modems, to different Wi-Fi routers. But at that point, you're getting into, Apple doesn't offer you choices like that when you're getting an airport extreme. You're just getting the biggest boost that they can give you. But if you're getting into Netgear or Linksys, then yeah, there are different broadcast radii. There's a different radius according to the different ones. But I personally don't like mixing. I find that I have to manage my Netgear or Linksys more than I do, obviously, with an Apple. So there may be some benefit to going that way. It depends on how sensitive you are to really minute differences in speed.
I just changed to an airport time capsule. She's
Oh,
saying
1 second. Go ahead, Marty.
Right, no, I'm a new owner, proud owner of an airport, I guess, time capsule, but I'd like to use my old router for a point access to extend, across the farther part of the house.
Yeah.
How easy is it, or difficult is it to configure so that it can work as an access point?
Yeah, when you open up the airport utility on the computer, it gives you a running list of all of your devices. Let me go ahead and do another screen share, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let me actually pull mine up first and see if there's something to share. So, airport utility.
Marty, I'm gonna, while you're doing that, I'm gonna give some information to Marty. I've gone through all of that over the years, and I have found that extending it, you really should use the Airport Express. But I don't know what other people in the room.
She's ringing you.
Okay. Can't do two things. I can't do two things. Can't walk and talk. It's usually a woman's issue, but I have it. Sorry. Please forgive me. I forgot I was in a room with mixed company.
I'm telling Cindy.
She already knows. I said that because I use her as an example.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and finish what you were saying to you.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I just got in big trouble. Okay.
So here's what airport utility looks like. And so here's the World Wide Web, here's my time capsule, and then you can actually see even what they look like. Here's my Airport Expresses. Here we have one of the newer Airport Expresses, so it even shows you what the device actually looks like. And so here's our kitchen, here's our living room, sanctuary is our bedroom. And when you click on any one of these, it will tell you which wireless network you're on. Ideally, they're all working through the same one. How your connection is, IP information, all of that. And when you're in here, you can work with, I'm up here on the wireless button, and here's the network mode, where I'm extending a wireless network, or joining a wireless network, or you could be creating a whole different wireless network. But this is the one that you want to focus on, is the extend a wireless network. And then what that's doing is branching it off and making it go out further. And so whenever you plug in a new device for the first time, you go into airport utility, and again, my favorite way of getting anywhere is just by going up to Spotlight and typing, there's airport utility right up there. And when you plug it in, it will start searching for it, it will ask if you want what you want to do, and it will walk you through a wizard to do all of that setup. It will say, do you want to create a new network, do you want to extend your old network, and you just kind of follow the prompts, and it will do those things for you. I believe that this one's an extension, and these might not be extensions, these might be have just joined the network.
Okay, we have a question.
Hi there.
Might as well just stay on the screen.
Okay.
One thing I would like to add for the benefit of the members, when you did that option click on the device, one of the Airport Expresses, it will also show you all of the Wi-Fi devices that are connected to it. So if your neighbor is connected to your house, if you start seeing devices that aren't yours, you might suspect that your neighbor is using your Wi-Fi.
Here's what he's talking about right there. So in our case, I can see that my phone is connected, my computer is connected, and our Apple TV up in the bedroom is connected to this particular unit right there.
We have another-
This one has, my assistant's iPhone is connected to this one, my husband's computer is connected to that one, and I'm not sure exactly which gadget of Jamie's this one is. So you can see exactly which one is connecting to which of the devices.
My experience with extending and dealing with that type of issue is I seem to always end up on the phone with Apple. And they do an excellent job of taking you through the whole process. They're very patient, and I've always found that, that's my solution. Because I, for some reason, can't seem to get it all together in my mind how this whole thing really operates.
I'm a big fan of Apple Care. I'm a huge fan of Apple Care. I get it for all of my devices. I mean, I'm an Apple Pro, and people tell me all the time, hey, you're better than Apple Care. But there are times when I just need it, and I need them to walk me through as well.
Do we have, Don, you have a question?
Yeah, the new Airport Express has a cord, does it not? Do you find that's inconvenient, or does the performance of the device make it worthwhile?
Has a cord.
Doesn't it? I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't actually seen
Yes.
that. I mean,
Yes.
I know that.
The new Airport Expresses don't plug directly into the wall. They have a cord that extends from the Express to the wall.
Yeah, that's what this one is. That's probably actually more convenient most of the time, because sometimes getting one of these bricks into an outlet can be a little challenging. You have to have a power strip, or you have to have enough room. So I actually think that going with this style of it, making it look like the minis, I think actually was a good idea, because now you can put it anywhere and you don't have to get it into the wall or a power strip.
And you can elevate it. Thank
Yes.
you.
Well, that was probably, Alicia, isn't it a good idea to have your router high up if possible?
You want it to be as centrally located in your house as possible. I mean, I don't know high up would make sense because it is broadcasting out, like, the way the sun shines. So if it's higher up, then you're getting down direction as well as up direction. But what really makes the difference more than anything is keeping it away from other major appliances that might have interference. I mean, you don't ideally want it next to, next to right up against printers or right up against hi-fi, like your stereo equipment. That the more space you can give around it without other electronics is actually going to be good for your signal there too. They also do make little rabbit ear extenders. Our time capsule is in my basement because that's where my Comcast phone line comes in. And so we have little rabbit ears that extend it out so that it can make it up to the rest of the house. But that is also why we have one of these up on the third floor. But if you can get it centrally located in the house, that is going to give you better connectivity across the house, rather than having it on any end, top, bottom, left, right.
We have one more, we have another question.
Will distance affect download speed?
Will distance affect what?
Download speed.
Yeah. Yeah, the distance does matter. The signal strength is what matters most. Distance does matter, but for download speed, the connecting directly to an Ethernet cable is going to be a lot faster than Wi-Fi. And if you are close to the unit, you will get a faster download speed because it will degrade over space and time. Usually, it's negligible in the space of a home. But there is a degradation.
Don, we have another
Will
question.
she take a time capsule question?
Will you take a time capsule question?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, how, if somehow I've disconnected, one of my Macs does not recognize the data that's there. It says it does not enough space because it needs 290 and it only has 280, but the data is already there. It doesn't need, it's not new stuff. Is there any way to reconnect, or do I have to just delete it and start over?
Yeah, I've come across this problem a lot, and I even have that problem in my own home. There is a particular website, there is one guy who has gone in with a fine-tooth comb and come up with like every possible way of reconnecting your time capsule to that old backup. But I have only been successful with that like once or twice, and I unfortunately have had to restart my time capsule and delete the old sparse bundle and start over again with it several times, which is one of the reasons why I really consider time capsule an on-demand emergency backup system, not a long-time archive, because my time capsule may only go back a few months, even though I've been using this computer setup for years and years and years. And so I don't rely on it as my be-all and end-all backup. It's kind of my oops backup. Oh God, I erased that. I messed that up. But that's why I keep Backblaze going. And I just kind of live with the fact that that part is not ideal. I don't know why it loses the connection. I don't know why it forgets that that is its backup, but I have had to restart mine several times.
Can she include that link?
Go ahead, Don.
Can you include that link when you write to George, the link to the guy?
Sure, let me make a note of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? We have another question.
Okay.
On my computer, I have a good signal-to-noise ratio and good transfer rate. But on the fan, it does not connect. So I reset the router, and then it worked. But how can I still get good signal and good pass rate if the router's not working properly?
Are you using Comcast router or a time capsule?
Comcast.
Wait a minute. Comcast was the answer.
And so it's the Comcast has the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Ask Comcast to give you a new modem.
Okay.
Is what I would do.
That's what
Hey George, can we go back to face-to-face so that I can actually see you?
Yeah, you're probably going to lose me.
I want to go ahead and end the screen share. I want to continue answering that question, but talk
You're
into the
going to lose me, so call me back.
I think that was a really good answer from that, because it continually drops it.
What, it's the thing you use a Linksys router,
Yeah.
not a Comcast router?
Thank you. One of the things that I've realized with Comcast is that, we tend to set it and forget it. And so you'll have a Comcast modem, and you've been with Comcast for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you have a 10-year-old modem that never got updated. And Comcast is never going to call you and say, hey, we have a new updated modem. And so if you have a modem that is more than 3 years old, it's worth calling Comcast and asking them to replace it and give you a newer modem, because it's going to give you better speeds, better technology, and just make sure if they are going to replace it that you replace it with the one that you need, either built-in Wi-Fi or no built-in Wi-Fi according to what you have now. But there's nothing like getting a new Comcast modem to boost your speeds, because they're never going to tell you that you're out of date.
Marilyn?
I had recently, I had my Comcast modem replaced, and when they put it in, I wasn't able to get any Wi-Fi until I realized that they had put in one with Wi-Fi on it. And so it was canceling out my Apple. And instead of replacing it, they were just able to turn off the Wi-Fi part of it for me. So
Just make sure they're not billing you for a Wi-Fi modem.
right.
They did that remotely?
Yes,
I didn't hear the answer.
yes, they did it remotely.
Okay, so they did it remotely, but there's a difference in the monthly charge for a regular Comcast modem and a Wi-Fi modem. So I'm glad that they were able to turn it off, but you want to make sure that they're not billing you monthly for that hardware, because it is like $3 a month less, somewhere $3 to $6 a month less for not using the Wi-Fi. So make sure that they have your billing straight for that too.
Any other questions at all? Alicia, thank you very much. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties.
Oh, no, absolutely fine.
Take care. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.